All right. Whoa. Piss and vinegar day 55. Chest and triceps. Today was a bit tough. I was sunburnt and I have hay fever, and I think I got a bit of sunstroke because I was really getting hot flashes and I was just couldn't cool down. It's a pretty cool night here. It's like 16 degrees, but it felt like 30 in my garage because I'm just so hot and bothered between the hay fever and the sunburn. So still got a good workout, but it was just not ideal. Like, it was harder to really push through when you're just overheating. Bit of a heat wave where I live right now. So yeah. Anyway, all good. But I was doing the bench press, incline dumbbell press rather. 36 kilos for like 11 reps or something. So it's still increasing the weight on these, which is really good. I think I probably got to go more, but my shoulders were being really unstable today. Some of the reps that started to like lose stability. At one point, I had to what happens is my humerus literally like kind of goes out of the socket, and it totally deactivates all the muscles that press. Like, it just happened there. You might have. It only happened for a second because I caught it, but it literally like all the muscles just turn off, and it's really kind of unsafe. So, and then it happened again on one of the last reps. My shoulder started getting unstable, so I didn't really push as hard as I could. I was a little bit in my head. Here, yeah, it started just getting a bit unstable again. So I think I just stopped there. I might have been able to get another rep, I don't know, but I didn't want to risk it. And I'd already got an extra 2 reps, so all good. And then I've got this pec deck that I built today. This thing's really cool. It's it looks like shit. It's a real dodgy piece of shit equipment as per all the things I build, but they function the way they're supposed to. It's not super smooth. There's a lot of friction on it, just because these are cheap carabiners, and probably the mechanics or the engineering on it is not super sound. But it's not really for getting a good stretch or anything. It's because it's more about getting a contraction at the top, which actually the friction on the machine actually gives you a better contraction. Funnily enough, I don't know. It doesn't feel like a smooth cable machine from a commercial standpoint or anything, but what it does, it works, basically, is what I'm trying to say in my sun-stricken way. I can't really think straight right now. But yeah, it works really good, and it functions to pre-exhaust my pecs before I do dips. So my dips I don't feel as good as I'd like to, so I use these pec flies, and then I'm doing like kind of a force rep with presses. I do this to pre-exhaust the lower pecs, and then I do dips, which is also to try and hit the lower and mid pecs. And obviously I can't get as many reps when I pre-exhaust, but this is one of Dorian Yates's. Well, I mean, it's a general technique in general. It's, a well-known bodybuilding technique, pre-exhaustion. For me, it's pre-exhaustion, but also pre-activation. I'm trying to pre-exhaust the pecs so that they give out before my triceps do, because I'm very tricep and delt heavy. So to increase the proprioception in the muscles by fatiguing them and then allowing the pecs to fail before the triceps do, get less reps, but you get more hypertrophy out of it. That way the pecs can fail, because you're trying to train to failure, and you're trying to train the muscles that you're trying to target to failure. Now, obviously, this is chest and triceps day, but this is my chest portion, so I'm trying to fail in my chest. So, yeah, this felt pretty good. I wasn't as strong, obviously, because pre-exhaustion, but that was a really good technique. And I feel like I wanted an extra exercise for my pecs anyway. I feel like my lower pecs, they are most definitely lacking, and I have very shitty lower pec development. So I feel like that pec fly will actually help that a lot. Now, I did some weird fucking yoga stance with my flies today, dumbbell flies. So you can't really see what's going on here, but this is also, obviously I'm doing 2 flies, but these sort of target the chest a little differently in the sense that it trains the mid and upper chest more, for me at least. And it's more about the stretch component. So the pec flies with the cables is more about the contraction. This is more about the stretch. And so very similar to the traps, where I do a stretch overload power shrug to stretch out the traps, and then I do a slow controlled V-bar shrug in order to get the good contraction, because part of the hypertrophy one of the biggest components of hypertrophy is the weighted stretch. So anytime that you can weighted stretch a muscle, you should, like pull-ups, flies, decline curls, calf raises with a huge stretch at the bottom. But some muscles you can't really do it with, like the biomechanics of the shoulders, like the side delts, front delts, rear delts, and a few other different muscles. Just it's kind of biomechanically difficult to get a stretch overload versus something like the pecs where it's really good and really easy. But any muscle where I can do a stretch overload, I try to give it a stretch overload variation just to get that potential extra hypertrophy from stretching out the fascia and stretching out the myofibrillars. And there's some data that shows that stretch overload also increases hyperplasia. So between all the different studies that show the stretch is a big component of hypertrophy, anytime I can do it, I add a stretch, and I'd highly suggest that you do too. So, and with the triceps, you can do it too. So obviously here, this is the contraction movement. There is a bit of a stretch at the top too, because I do a high range of motion that you can see, which makes me weaker, but I don't really give a shit. It's bodybuilding, right? Strength isn't as important as the actual movement and the form. But the stretch isn't as good as the next movement I do, which is the dumbbell or barbell overhead extension, which gets the massive stretch component. So yeah, the pec flies, the two different pec fly variants, people might say, oh, well, you only need one pec fly. And I would tend to agree if you didn't take into consideration the fact that they do two slightly different things. If you look at the bottom left corner of my screen, you can see my dog trying to get in. He's just like, let me in, motherfucker. Look at him. What a funny cunt. Yeah, big drop sets with the tricep extensions. These are getting stronger too. I think I did 37 for 9 or 8. So these are getting stronger. Obviously, if I did a shorter range of motion, more of a standard range of motion with the triceps, like most people do, I could probably get more weight, but it doesn't matter. More out of less weight. Look at him. Oh, he's so funny. And now onto the stretch overload tricep movement. So this is exactly what I mean. This is to get, well, this gets two different things. You get a pretty decent contraction at the top, but it's more about getting that crazy stretch at the bottom. And I contribute my pretty freaky triceps to this. I mean, obviously, for me, it's probably most likely to be a genetic component because I do a lot of stretch overload to my pecs, and my pecs fucking suck. But, I contribute some of my good hypertrophy or my overdeveloped triceps to this variation here from that stretch overload. And there is a guy that does these who has like these insane inner heads. But that's a topic for another day. I might make a video about that actually more in depth. There's a guy with crazy inner head tricep insertions who does like extremely heavy overhead work. Now I'm doing a bit of flex posing. Still don't know what I'm doing. I really keep forgetting to look up how to pose on the internet, but part of the fun is kind of not doing it right, I guess. I don't know. It's just like, it's my own thing, right? Make it my own. Goofy posing, but I should probably look up how to do it to maximize how I look when I do it. Anyway, see you guys for more Piss and Vinegar tomorrow. Bye-bye.